Alright, quick TA update on Solana. So for the first time in a while, I've actually got a relatively clean chart, and that's because I just made a tutorial video on how to use a particular technical analysis indicator called the bunny hills that I myself have pioneered. And I did this on the Solana chart, and I am going to talk about this briefly in this video, because what you can currently see, like I said, if you're a veteran to my channel, you would have seen me do this 1,001 times. But if you're new, first of all, warm welcome. This bunny hills are basically where you have the squeeze momentum indicator fire a short-term move to the upside on the 4-hourly time frame, and this always correlates to a 4-hourly move into the 4-hour EMA ribbons. Now, depending on whether you're able to cross the 4-hourly EMA ribbons, depending on whether you're able to cross the 13-day moving average, this will depend whether you've got a bunny hill or a confirmed breakout. And as you can see these bumps over in the squeeze momentum indicator down here correlate to the price action, bumping us into the EMA ribbons and then creating a rounding top, pulling us back down to the downside. But at this moment in time, Solana is very, very momentarily topping out in the short term. And looking at this, we're coming down for a very important retest at this moment in time. So the 4-hourly EMA ribbons are starting to move up. We are, in my opinion, I think we're going to have a breakout of the EMA ribbons regardless of whether we break bullish or not. Because if we do zoom in, you can see the short-term moving average is very, very close to crossing the long-term moving average. So I imagine within the next 8 hours, as long as Solana stays above, $33 or so, this will probably cross bullish, and then we'll have a very important retest coming up. So with the 4-hourly EMA ribbons converging to the downside, you would be looking for Solana to come back down to the 13 estimated moving average, or exponential moving average rather, and also for Solana to come back and backtest these EMA ribbons. So anywhere within the range of $33.36, or alternatively, which I would personally prefer, is if we come back down to the 4-hourly EMA ribbons and we manage to break out, that would be a backtest of the 13 EMA and the EMA ribbons on the 4-hour, which would bring Solana down to about $34 on the dot. Now, in my opinion, I'm still going with that this is bearish. As I've been saying on my channel, the trend is your friend until the end, and as you can see, this indicator on the bunny hills has played out once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and this could be playing out a 6th time. Bear in mind, we've stuck our head above this once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and we're doing it for the 6th time right now. So we really need to start pushing up. We need to come down to 33, backtest it, take out the invalidation point right at the top here, and this level marks $36.92. So that is pretty much all I wanted to talk about for this chart. Let's see if we've got any micro Fibonacci's that we've drawn out since this new trend has started. So let's draw from the most recent high back down to the low, because I don't imagine we'd be up to any Fibonacci's of major importance whatsoever. This is also interesting as well. The 13 EMA and the 4-hourly EMA is probably going to come down to the 236 fib. So this would be a great area to start seeing, the start of a rally. And this could also be a great area where we could once again see on the 4-hour bunny hilling, rounding, topping, and going back down. This really all depends whether we backtest $33, push up, and take out 37. Now, in my opinion, once again, I think we should be conservative on this. I believe the trend would be your friend on this. So I'm really just going to sit on the sideline until we do have a confirmed move on this. You can see from this most recent, or somewhat most recent rejection over on the 13 EMA, if we draw our fib from the low to the high, we've come up to the 0.5, down to the next level down. We came up to the 618 and got rejected, and even if we draw it from when we started capitulating, we've come back down into this range. So we've got an interesting time coming up in the lower time frames. In my opinion, once again, $33 needs to get flipped. We need to start pushing up and taking the roof off at $37. Now, we've got an okay amount of volume coming in the last couple of days. It is diminishing over time, so I really do think we need more volume to start pushing up in this trend. And you can even see on the daily EMA ribbons, this is currently what people are being bullish for. And I would like to highlight, there have been, many times where we've temporarily wicked above the 13 EMA, and, we've even come up to the daily EMA ribbons, which is what you can see that we've currently been rejected from at this moment in time. So once again, another major reason why we need to take out the top of this trend at $37. Now, if we switch back over to my macro chart for Solana, If I remove a few things so we can just talk about a few individual signals, but you can see quite recently, you know, depending on how you want to draw this, we have broken down from a pretty decent bear flag. And if we do take this price target down, obviously the price target would not be valid on this because it would be in the minuses, but nonetheless, it has only been fairly recently that we've broken down from this. And you can actually see, if we mark, this is a 1.6 fib, so I won't move this. If we mark this support floor over here that was broken, we've basically come up into it today. We also whipped up to the 1.618 and we've got rejected. So once again, this is where the bunny hills are going to come in handy in the lower time frames, and this is where we would want to see a move back down. I would also like to highlight there have been many times where you've made these little bear flags and done things like this while we are coming down in the trend. Now, even if you don't want to consider these bear flags and you just want to talk about the run up on these support lines, you can see there's been many times where we've gone up for, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days and start to come down. Here we started going up for 1, 2, 3, and then on the 4th day we started to come back down. And at this moment in time, we've been going up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, you know, hopefully we do get continuation on this, although I would much prefer to buy cheap Solana rather than having this go up at this moment in time. But nonetheless, you can also see we could potentially have a very neat W pattern playing out. I really don't think this would come into fruition, so I just would like to emphasize that. But if we do extrapolate this price target breakout, then we could even see as high as $44. Remember, if we do come up to $44, let's say we come up in the next couple of days, hit that price target, we would be having to contend with the top of these EMA ribbons. So there's a lot of bearish overhead signals for Solana, and as such, I am going to keep my bearish bias. If you've been watching my videos, you know, if you're a seasoned veteran, you'll know my channel. You'll know my price targets. It is down here at $26.59. Also $19.34. I also do think if the Fed keeps on increasing the interest rates and Bitcoin keeps on getting battered for the next couple of months, then, you know, $9 to $11 down here could be on the table. But let's take it one step at a time. So Solana still looks pretty bearish to me. Once again, if we invert this chart, because, you know, a lot of people, I understand because I was like this myself when I started trading, but a lot of people look at these altcoins and they look at these cryptocurrencies that they own and they use emotions when they are trading in the market, and that definitely hinders your performance. But one way to negate those emotions and look at things objectively is to just reset the chart and invert it. Let's pretend this is a different cryptocurrency, and what can you tell about this chart? I mean, this chart is very undeniably macro bullish at this moment in time. You know, we've been, you know, we made our low, we've been flipping these EMA ribbons and going up on a massive rampage. You know, we came back down. I imagine if we draw from the low to the high in terms of the Fibonacci's, wow, we came down to the 382. We didn't even make it back down to some of these major support levels. And what did we do? You know, we hit like the second Fibonacci and just started to move back up. Ever since then, we've been getting held up on support by the 13 EMA, and there have been a few times where we have flipped bearish on the 13 EMA. For example, we flipped bearish here, we flipped bearish, oh no, a little bit too far, we flipped bearish here. It looks like we crossed below it here. We obviously crossed below it here. We crossed below it here. We crossed below it here. Here. And quite recently we're doing it at this moment in time. But if you do notice this trend, every time we temporarily break back below it, that means, yes, you could have a week in the sun, you could have 4 or 5 days in the sun, but what normally happens is you come right back into the EMA ribbons on the daily time frame, and then you start that next move up. So in my opinion, if this was a completely different cryptocurrency and we were just looking at this, you know, right off the bat, this wasn't Solana, this was something else, I'd start drawing targets like this and say, you know, we're bullish, so in my opinion, 1.618 is the next on the table. And that is, as you can see, how I do get my target of $19.61. So I know it may seem like using inverse charts is kind of a meme and a troll, but nonetheless, the charts are the exact same, the price targets are the exact same. The only difference is we've just inverted the chart. And, you know, just like if we did draw this Fibonacci from the low to the high, which would be valid on this time frame, once again, your 1.618 is down here at $19.50, just like it was on the inverse chart. So that's all I've got for you today. Macro time frame, still bearish. I would be looking for this bunny hill to play out, and I do think very soon we're going to have an answer. Is this going to be another bunny hill? Or are we going to have a reversal to the upside? I'm going to definitely be waiting before I do any longs or any decisions like that, but if you were looking to get bullish, $33, $32.30 would need to get back tested. We would subsequently need to flip over at least $37. That's all I've got for you today. As always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.